Now what does Raila mean when he says that we'll tell our people not to come out? Yeah, of course referring to the police brutality that has been rained on demonstrators, even as the police IG tries to sell us the narrative that bodies were hired. So most Azimio supporters have gone into panic. Indeed, Azimio supporters are always in panic. That's the truth. For the simple reason that they have underestimated the resolve and determination of one Raila Odinga to leave a better Kenya as his last legacy. I'm sure many of us will remember all the media reports about a handshake. Many people told me, Chris, you're wrong. There is a handshake loading. There has to be. There'll definitely be. Your handshake iko wapi? It'll never come. Now this business of Raila telling people to stay indoors in the future and appealing his supporters to stop people from coming out. What does it mean? Does it mean maandamano have ended? The fight for a better Kenya has ended? The resistance, the resist movement against Finance Bill 2023 and the oppressive Ruto regime, has all that ended? How do you achieve anything by staying indoors? How? Actually, I'm going to shock you, those who are doubting. The next move that is going to be unleashed by Raila Odinga and Azimio is going to be it. It is going to be so devastating because there's really no answer to it. It cannot be clamped down by policemen being given orders. No. It will be unstoppable. Now I know most of us are not lovers of history, but very briefly, I need to take you back to a great Indian man called Mahatma Gandhi and the way he resisted the colonialists using non-violent means. Indeed, Mahatma Gandhi's fight for independence is at times hilarious and maybe disgusting, but it worked. Now what do I mean? Watu walikuwa wakiona mbeberu wanaenda haja kubwa hapo hapo mbele yake. Yani they squat and they keep on staring at the mzungu straight in the eyes as they're doing their business. Yeah. Folks, history tells us that peaceful resistance has worked in the past. And so imagine the next Azimio resistance. Instead of being demonstrations, come out and demonstrate and picket, which is anchored in our constitution. I will never cease to keep on reminding this government. Instead, people will stay indoors in protest. What that means is that in the nation of Kenya, if indeed it is true Azimio supporters are the majority, if indeed it is true that it is actually Raila who won the last presidential elections, then Kenya will ground to a halt. So much so that if the Ruto regime are genuine, they will end up coming out and begging for the maandamanos to come back. Because the maandamanos are better. During demonstrations, a little activity goes on. Things happen here and there. Things are moving. Yeah, slowly, but they're moving. But this next thing being unleashed by Azimio, if it is effective, afadhali maandamano. Because when you really think about it, maandamanos are peaceful. The truth is that you can open your business. As long as the peaceful procession is not passing near your business, because there will always be those people who want to take advantage. If you are nowhere along the route, there's no reason why you should not carry out your business as usual. We of course know the only problem is that the police and people who have been sent to cause chaos come into the mix, and then all hell breaks loose. But if police brutality stays out, and if those people within UDA stop sending those people of theirs, then usually there should be no problem. And now as Kenyans we have evidence that Chris Kumekucha is not talking his own things. What has been happening in Uasin Gishu, in Eldoret? Those parents who are protesting against the county government, that embezzled their funds and left their children stranded who are supposed to go abroad, Finland, Canada, for education. What has happened to those demonstrations? Have you heard of any problem? Have you heard of any people destroying people's property? No! And so the government has to explain to the international community why it is possible to have peaceful demonstrations in Eldoret, one part of the country, incidentally the county where the president hails from, but it is not possible to have a peaceful demonstration anywhere else in the country. They need to explain that. But of course on this channel we are realists. We know that the government will not beg for the normal demonstrations to come back. They won't. Instead they'll find a new narrative. And we can guess some of the narrative that will be flying in our direction if this latest Azimio move works according to plan. We will be told the children of those leading the demonstrations are working, while the vast majority of poor Kenyans have been forced to stay at home and not go to work. We will be told that people have been forced not to go to work, which is against the law and constitutional. Well, the truth is, if you decide to protest peacefully by refusing to leave your house, there is no law you have broken. That's the truth. And the truth never changes. The truth cannot be skewed. The truth cannot be spun into some narrative that is to your advantage. No. The truth always remains the truth. Well, we know that Raila said is giving talks 30 days, and those days are disappearing very fast. But I also need to give you some information. Apparently, there is a lot of pressure, external pressure, on UDA, on the Kenya Kwanza side. And so Kenyans must prepare themselves for the possibility of some sort of agreement being reached, concessions here and there, kidogo kidogo. But then the issue will be implementation. Yes, you can agree on 1, 2, 3. But when it comes to time to implement, let me just leave it at that. Bottom line, even if there's a delay of more than 30 days before the resistance resumes, I think Kenyans must brace themselves for the next level of resistance, which will not require you to leave your house. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.